Hello, my name is Thomas Albdorf and I am a photographer living in Vienna, Austria. The body of work of mine that is included in the show On Earth at Foam is the series I Know I Will See What I Have Seen Before. And I first published it with Danish publisher Lodret Vandret back in 2015 in the form of this book. And basically, this entire series is a series about Austria, respectively how Austria as a country is constructed via the images that are associated with it. So we think about mountainous landscapes, vast forests, etc., etc. So I was interested in taking those expectations and cliches towards the Austrian landscape and see if I could come up with new solutions and, to a certain degree, new images that would potentially offer a different view towards Austria. I wanted to test if I could create images within a body of existing images that is very vast. There are millions and millions of images that already cover the topic. If I could create something new that would make sense. So I basically started with traveling to mountains landscapes within Austria, taking images there, recording photographs, bringing those images back to the studio, developing the film, scanning the film, creating prints, and then just testing if I could come up with certain iterations of those images, shifting those images in the studio, or shifting those images via post-production on my computer and see if I could create something new. And basically, the book also very much determines how I often work with those images within an exhibition. And then basically the book starts off with relatively conventional images. You have some beautiful landscapes, just stuff that you would expect when you think about Austria. And then at a certain point in the book, the images just start to get deconstructed to a certain degree. You stumble upon arrangements where you think, that's sort of odd, could this be real? And then you quickly stumble upon images where it's absolutely obvious that they are heavily constructed, created in post-production, so that you are actually looking at something that was very likely not ever existing that way in the real world. The ultimate goal of this entire thing was to get the spectator to a point where they would question even the unaltered and so to speak, real images that are within the book. So I tried to create a photographic space where you would start to question every image that you see, and you would potentially get beyond the point where you question them and would just accept them for what they are, not documents, not some depiction of the real or something like that. Within the book, as stated before, it's mostly based on images that I took that then get partially slightly altered or heavily altered, but there's also appropriated imagery that I acquired while taking scans from old books or stumbling upon old photographs on flea markets. And then appropriating those images and shifting the way they work within post-production. So I would just basically grab an existing image and just heavily alter in post-production to see if I could get something new out of it. I want to thank Flemming Overbech and Johan Rosenmunter of Lodret Vandret for helping me establishing this entire body of work. It was really helpful for me to work with them as a publisher because they determined the structure of the book. They really helped me to create a certain way of presenting it that really made sense. The title of the series, I Know I Will See What I Have Seen Before, is a reference to the opening song in The Sound of Music, where the main protagonist sings, I know I will hear what I've heard before. And basically it was coined by, again, Flemming Overbech. We were talking about what aspects led to actually the creation of the series, and The Sound of Music was one of the movies that I referenced that I was interested in, how Austria as a cliche was constructed within this movie. And we were thinking about what title for the entire series would make sense, and he basically stumbled upon the phrase, I know I will hear what I've heard before, and he was just saying maybe it would make sense as there's much repetition within the book, as you're looking at images like image categories that are like shot millions of times. You're basically deconstructing those cliches. So we're just looking at stuff that we have seen before. And if we just take that phrase that itself would be a reference to like a depiction of Austria, and we just like use see instead of heard, that would be absolutely on point. And I think it's like the perfect title for the series, and I'm still very thankful for Flamingo Becky on that. You can see work from the series in the exhibition On Earth that is currently on view at Film. Thanks Film for having me, I'm very honored. Thanks Hinderhaste for making all of this possible.